What's up, everybody? You're about to hear a 1-hour podcast about PUBG and also about a bunch of other gaming news, Halo and Destiny and Gears of War and all kinds of other stuff, a little bit of Diablo talk, but mostly PUBG, guys. Enjoy the podcast. If you love this podcast, it is vitally important that you support us. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. I'll be uploading these podcasts in audio form to patrons, so you can download them in audio form if you like. But if you guys want us to keep doing these free on YouTube, this is the first episode. We're really going to need that feedback and really need that support on Patreon. If you can help, we're being demonetized on Patreon, censored all the time, and the ads are gone. We need your help as far as Patreon goes. Otherwise, at least for now, it's free on YouTube. Enjoy this podcast. What's going on, everybody? What's up, everybody? We are here, finally, for some content on the gaming channel. I'm working on highlight videos as well that hopefully we can get up here every week from PUBG. And Battle Royale and all these other things. On Sunday, this Sunday, we'll be recording a podcast about Battle Royale games that are coming out, the craze that is Battle Royale, PUBG, Fortnite, all that stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about that on Sunday with Himmelgod and me and maybe D-Moon and Jake and Leah and whoever can be here. And we also did a poll about controllers. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But right now, we're just basically talking about a couple things. But the first thing is patch notes for PUBG. There's things changing again today. There seems to be things changing every day. And last night, Jake, you said you kind of gave an example of what was going on with the cache or whatever with the temporary.
I mean, there was a memory leak going on that was causing a big bit of trouble, and we kind of finally figured out what the issue was here. They had said that going forward, they figured out that the memory leak was regarding character renders. So they're now able to increase efficiency of processes, reducing crashes. Because, as you know, I mean, D-Moon had said too, if you didn't have a solid-state drive running or the Xbox One X, you were kind of screwed. And you would have to either shut down the game every 2 hours or, play 3 rounds, then quit. And it was just rather infuriating. You'd be in a decent game, you'd get kicked and end up losing, or you'd parachute down to a building and things wouldn't load and wouldn't be fully rendered. So they said in more detail each time you transition to a new screen. So you went from the start screen to the lobby to actually being in the pregame to the game. The memory cached for each character rendering was leaking. So it basically means that it would use so much memory each time, and it would reduce the amount of total available RAM in the console. So what they do is in the game, there's a 1 kilometer radius around your character. So when you died, causing a scene change back to like the main lobby, that cached memory was leaked for all characters within the 1 kilometer radius around you and became unusable memory.
Nice.
So if you had 8 gigs of RAM, on the console, now you only had 6 left. Now you start playing, now you only got 4 left, and you only got 2 left, and it just kept cutting down until eventually it crashed. And so every time you enter a new game, return to the lobby, anything like that, the amount of available memory would be reduced until reaching the out-of-memory phase, which either brought about the probability of crashing or the inability, because it was loading so much around the character, you weren't able to render like buildings that you were dropping into or weapons, things like that would freeze. And especially like when you press start to change something on your weapon or bring up the UI screen, that would lag as well. So apparently this is a huge stability fix, and they've also added an input for level streaming. So this adds streaming logic, which will also reduce crashes and add game stability. And basically what this means is that they're offloading the oldest used data, and it's basically making everything come from server side. So things you'll see will be like the grass and some of the textures. Basically the resolution is the same, but the amount of resources required to render those things has been lowered. So
is this like, do you think we're really gonna, like, I don't even know. I vision like logging onto the Xbox and then still having the loading issues, like major, like
I don't know. Apparently this is definitely going to help with the crashing side of things, and I'm sure there will still be limits to rendering like buildings and things like that, but I don't think it'll be as drastic or at least as long. You go ahead, you jump out of the plane and you land at the hospital, and now you're falling through the roof and you have to wait a good 30 to 40 seconds just to have a floor load, And in that time, if somebody else, doesn't have that issue, they're grabbing a weapon, you're killed, and you're forced to either wait if you're with friends or start over.
What's weird though, dude, is like what I don't understand right now about PUBG is, and I mean, we're all playing on different things. Like D-Moon, he's on Xbox One X. I'm on the original Xbox. Like, I mean, Xbox One, like the original one, like the first one, like even, not even just like whatever they call the S, it's like the original one. Like, so when we used to play PUBG even like a few months ago, things would have trouble loading, but I would never have the issue that I have now where the building is just not even there. And like I can see inside the walls. I can see all the guns around me and there's no building and I can start actually running for the guns. And then that did not used to happen to me. And the weird thing is we've had patch and fix ever since then. And like the weird thing is it's worse now. How the hell is it worse now, For me.
Yeah, I think ever since like what was it, the Miramar map came out or whatever.
Yes.
Like I genuinely feel like my Xbox One X is just running it like really really bad. Like all the issues that you guys used to talk about with like buildings not loading up or like it wouldn't render correctly. Now I'm seeing all that stuff, and like you guys see it all the time now. Like I'm crashing to the point where I can't even like launch off the plane now. It's like ridiculous.
And it's weird too because the other thing is that's weird about that is like you said, like you weren't like there was a point in time when I was like, man, I really want to get an Xbox One X because that makes a difference. Because Moon would be like, oh, I'm good. Nothing's rendering for me, and we're like, it's kind of rendering. But now it's really bad for me, and now that stuff's happening to you. So like I'm wondering why.
You figure the processing power and all that, teraflops of extra memory that they added into that console. That just shows that the game's not optimized well.
But it's weird because they keep saying we're optimizing it more and more. But why is it worse? Why?
I think
have they even tweeted about this or like mentioned like, hey, we know the game is worse now than it was 6 months ago.
They didn't make any official statement, but they've made nods, on Twitter saying basically like, yeah, we realize things are in a worse state. So, I mean, at least they're semi-admitting their wrongdoings, but they can't, I think, do that in an official setting. But even people on the PC have had issues for endless times. When it finally came to a full release and not a beta, people said it was worse than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, Bluehole is not, in PUBG Core, they're not a huge team, obviously. And that doesn't excuse a lot, but everyone compares it to Fortnite and Epic, but Epic is a massive studio.
Yeah, and I don't think
that does make an issue. And plus, they spend a lot of their time and resources dealing with cheaters when they could have just regional locked China. I still say,
and they're
taking care of the problem.
I don't know how they separate Xbox and PlayStation and PC either. I don't know how that works. I know that they've actually tweeted out, kind of going after people that say they're a small team. Like we have over 80 people, working. It's not a small team. They've said that. Like that they're working hard all the time. They're not just sitting there not doing anything. But that doesn't mean they're not doing anything. It just means like they're probably working triple, double time, whatever, because they're probably trying not to lose this audience or this group of people that they have playing their game, and they really need to get PUBG needs to really get going and really get solid with the fan base of people playing by the time that all these other ripoffs start coming out. Obviously like. And because we're all interested in it, and it's our topic on Sunday.
Yeah,
they're gonna be dealing with Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, and then more Red Dead Redemption. Oh my God, dude,
all these games are getting a battle royale mode, and plus they got the lawsuit against Epic, which people think is kind of ridiculous, but apparently they have a good amount of merit. No, apparently from when I read, their like pre-deposition stuff, it might actually be. Some proper claims for what they're saying. They're not saying that it's outright stolen, like the Battle Royale game mode, but certain assets and things, I guess.
Well, I'm saying it's a waste of time in the terms of like why are you worrying about that? Just fix your game rather than worrying about what other people are doing. Because it's like what Joe just said.
Process for Fortnite to going forward, they'd have to go back and basically change a lot of code. Well, it would make the game useless.
Well, I'll tell you
aspects.
why. Because they may be able to settle with money. And so they can get money. They can finances. Like maybe they say, well, you compensate us for the whatever. But also, it's not like all the developers are going to the courtroom now. You know what I mean? It's not like that. They probably have a team of lawyers or a couple lawyers. even just a lawyer or two, you know, can do it. And so they, from there to defend them, you know, it's not physically like the guy who's coding and trying to fix PUBG right now isn't getting off his desk and going into the courtroom. You know, he's still working. That it makes no effect on him whatsoever. But from their standpoint, they could probably earn some money. If they're just trying to hurt Fortnite, I don't think that helps them at all because it's too late. People love Fortnite. It's already too late. You know, you trying to hurt them really doesn't help. The best thing to do would be to get this over with as quickly as possible. And the best thing I think for them would be then to get maybe like compensated financially or something.
Yeah, I mean, monetary gain could mean more for, you know, PUBG in the long run. Plus, I mean, they still have a good deal of content coming, and a lot of, like I said, their resources were dedicated to, one, optimizing the game, and two, dealing with cheaters. I mean, Xbox didn't have as many cheaters, but there certainly was a decent amount. A lot of network manipulation, really, so they had to fix things, you know, server side. And they're adding war mode, you know, so that, you know, there's a respawn timer, so if you die, you get to come back. And it's more of like a team deathmatch scenario. That sounds like it's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun. That's also going to be something that will, like, we would definitely warm up on, right? Like, because when we come into the game, like, we wanted that practice mode.
That's basically unlimited practice.
So so you're saying it's like a deathmatch or Slayer type of thing?
Yeah. And, you know, there's a respawn timer. If you die, sometimes you got to wait 30 seconds before you're able to play, but still, at least you get to come back. You don't have to start all over.
Are we, isn't the team huge too? Isn't it like 2 teams of like 12 or 50 or
I think it's like 40 players. I think it's 2 teams of 20. Don't quote me on that, but
when is this set to come out?
This summer. So I think July was the tentative release date.
How do you tell the teams apart? Because in PUBG, there's no like colors and stuff like that.
I think there's going to be the same way you do it now, where there's just icons above people's heads.
Oh wow, yeah.
You'll have your team icon of 20. You know,
that's where the friendly fire could be a problem, because I feel like it's going to be.
I think it might be off for that mode, but
I hope so, because that's going to be difficult.
PTS, you know, the test server for PC had an off and on, so I'm not sure. But
okay, maybe that will be.
Yeah, but they said Sandhook, new weapons, skins, and war mode are all coming this summer, and they're going to test it through the PTS server, then launch to live servers. And an update, as of right now, people are complaining about this patch that we're discussing, saying that ever since the update this morning, this huge patch, everyone's game is freezing the loading screen, and they have to hard reset their Xbox. Never once happened to people on the Xbox One X before this latest update. But it's not just freezing the game, but the console as well.
Well, here's a question for that. Once you reset, does that stop happening, or is this an ongoing thing? Like when you gotta, now I gotta hard reset again, because that would be nuts.
I'm not sure, but that would be infuriating either way.
It will happen to Moon tonight. It will only happen to Moon, even though he's got the best.
Probably gonna happen to me.
You have the best Xbox, and it's gonna happen to you. It's really enraging when you pay it. You know, Moon has like a $500. You know, has the really good Xbox, and then he's getting lagged out of stuff. It's just, that's kind of BS.
It's not only that, man, but it's like the fact that, like, you know, this is a console exclusive. You would think that Microsoft would want to, like, you know, capitalize on having PUBG only, but it's like, you know, if the game, it's really not worth it if the game's not working properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I judge some of its popularity by Twitch. I just tend to do that with a lot of things, and you know, it's still in the top 10, but it's down to about, when I was looking at it the other day, like 20,000 viewers watching PUBG streams. Where there was a time, I think it might have been, it was after that celebrity or whatever. Maybe was it Drake? Who was the guy that played? It
was Ninja. I think that was
Ninja and Drake. Yeah.
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 Ninja
so
and Drake.
After Drake and Ninja's situation, like Fortnite was up to like 300,000 viewers on Twitch, which was like clearly #1, and I think the most they ever had watching one game. It was nuts. 300,000 people were watching. Or no, I think we're watching, or is it streams? I forget. I don't know.
Well, I think streaming, or no, yeah, watching. I think.
Yeah. So
that one stream had over 600,000 people watching.
What? Really? I didn't see that stream, but
yeah, the Ninja one with Drake had like 600,000 people.
Oh God! No, this was like days later after that. Is what I mean. Like,
after that there was a good 300,000 to 400,000 viewers still.
But it also bumped up PUBG, because PUBG was at 120,000, and then they went down to 70,000. And then for a while, PUBG was at 70,000 and 50,000, and Fortnite was at 90 to 150. Now, if I look, I mean, Fortnite's like at 100,000 and PUBG's at 20, so they've dropped off significantly. So yeah, they really need to get themselves in a situation on Xbox where it's like they are ready to go because they're gonna have all this competition. Like it just needs to get even better, and they need to release these maps. Like the snow map is gonna be fun, like all that stuff, the new modes. But you know, as long as they're in the top 10 and they have 10 to 15 to 20,000 people watching them on Twitch, I feel like they're very viable at that point. But if they start dropping below that, that makes me wonder.
Yeah, and more on this war mode. I guess it's a designated area on the map. So there's a small play circle. You drop with random equipment from the plane, and there's also game modes that are themed. So it could be like shotguns only or only pistols. But every time you drop with different set equipment. So you might have a level 3 helmet, no backpack, and an assault rifle.
And that's
but it's different stuff each time. So it's random spawns, and then other times it's not random. It's set. Like I said, everybody shotguns, everybody pistols. And
what if you die?
So you have 5-minute matches, 20-minute matches. It depends on what they set, but it's highest score wins. And there's 10v10 mode, 20v20, or you can do squads as well. So.
Oh, dude, when is that going to release? Because I'm like
tentatively they're saying PTS is going to be end of July. So.
Oh man.
I thought they had that on mobile already, didn't they? Or
They
something
might.
similar to that.
Yeah, mobile they have a few different similar things, and this is already out on PC.
They have all these modes on PC already?
Yeah. War mode's out on PC, and people say, you can think it's practice mode, but the circle's small, so you usually die before landing, and then people say it's hyped, that it's great, and it's great, as training and, something different to play. But think about how many different game modes they could come out with this. They could do a capture the flag. They could do, there's so many things here that I wish they could implement, because as much as I love the game, and I really do enjoy playing it, you get frustrated after a while dropping into the same spot, the same map, knowing, I wish they had some of the ideas like they do with this, where, I would love to see a mode where you're just fully stacked and you could pick a loadout and go in and, things like that.
Can you imagine if they had capture the flag, like driving away in the cars and stuff? Like, it's like Halo.
Think about like Halo, how they have, the war mode they have on Halo there.
Yeah.
And where you get to go ahead and the more the better you do, then you get to call in like, a tank or a Banshee, things like that.
I have a game mode for you. Here's the game mode. If you want to hear it, this is going to be epic, right? So, okay, here's the game mode. It is 6 minutes long, and it's called Four Corners. Now, the map is square, and in the dead center, equally to the four corners, in the dead center of the map, there's a castle or whatever. And it's called Four Corners. Everybody starts with the same stuff, same whatever the hell, blah, 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 right? So you want to get to that middle as fast as possible. All the weapons and ammunition are all in the same vicinities of all four teams. And so you have to grab that stuff first and get to the castle or whatever it is.
Kind of Hunger Games, like where all the weapons and stuff are in a set spot. Yeah.
Now the first team to occupy the castle or the house or the mansion or whatever it's going to be, right? So it's like you're under siege, right? Because people are coming with grenades and whatever they can to knock you out of the castle. So every team, right? Every team, and you could do something where like every team gets one full respawn or something. I don't even know. Or you just have to kill the entire team. I don't know. Or you have to hold the castle for like 5 minutes or whatever, right? So whoever holds the castle for like 5 minutes or for a minute straight, I don't know, something weird like that where it's under siege and it can kind of change spots maybe once or twice. It would be wild, like a dash to that middle area and to try to gear up, but also try to send people there early to occupy it first. Like something like that would be wild. Call it like Four Corners, something like that. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a King of the Mountain in a way, but it's, something
that would
like
be sick. You're onto something big there.
Like, that sounds so fun to me. And then maybe around the castle, hundreds of yards away are four, again, symmetrical bunkers where the teams could snipe from if they wanted to. And, something like that. And I don't know exactly how that would go, but I just think that would be really exciting. Like, that would be that's so weird.
That would be high action all the time. That's what I used to love, like, even Assault, where, in Halo, where you had to bring the bomb to the base. Like, there was almost like, obviously offense, defense part of it, but then there was also, like, there was a good deal of strategy, which I loved. So you can either be really sneaky and quiet and try and, crouch walk into the enemy's base to plant this bomb, or you can go, guns blazing having a team assault with a warthog, and everybody's trying to, encroach and break their way through their defenses and things like that. This has, PUBG written all over it. And I can't envision that it would be difficult to employ these kind of game modes. Like, they should be a dime a dozen at this point. They should have 10 different game modes.
Just think the problem is that when something popular comes out, everybody wants to do it. So it's like, what Joe was talking about. Now everyone's going to want to do Battle Royale.
But
it's like,
it's everywhere. That was E3 in a nutshell.
Yeah.
First it started Battlefield. Oh, Battlefield E3. Call of Duty had their announcement before E3 that they're definitely adding a Battle Royale mode. And it's going to be Call of Duty, live. And Fallout, is going open world with players. I wouldn't doubt they have some sort of type of, thing. And same thing with Red Dead Redemption. Halo Infinite is supposed to have it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
But honestly though, can we and I know this is kind of this is sort of the comments for Sunday. This is the theme of the Sunday podcast, so I don't want to go too much into it, but it is amazing. This is there I don't think there's ever been a craze. The last time there was a craze like this was Halo 2, because after Halo 2, everyone decided, gotta do shooters, gotta put out shooters. That was the last time I remember this type of craze. Maybe like Resident Evil or something. Like during Resident Evil, lots of people wanted to start doing survival horror, and then Halo 2, everybody wanted to do a shooter, and now everyone's trying to do this Battle Royale mode, and I don't think there's ever been a time, at least in recently, that this has sparked something crazy. That's how significant what PUBG and Fortnite have done. And PUBG was really the one who started it with H1Z1 and whatever before, and then it got whether it got stolen from Fortnite or whatever. But the bottom line is, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. This is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, well, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think Fortnite is going to be king of the mountain 2 years from now?
That's
a really good question. I have no idea.
No, I don't. I've also already seen, a lot of articles, because everyone wants to say, oh, it's Fortnite's dying. It's not dying. I mean, it's certainly waning in interest, but there's been a lot of people that have been frustrated with some of the monetization aspects of the game. I guess prices have increased. V-Bucks, has become more prominent, and I understand it's free to play.
What?
And, a lot of the stuff is cosmetic only, but, people are still somewhat frustrated with how the changes are coming, so.
Yeah.
And the fact that, because it's free to play, they add things all the time, and there's a lot of unbalanced hoopla. I don't know how to word it properly, but there's a lot of things that they just throw in there because, oh, it's free to play and it's a special event, so it'll only be there for 3 days, like the shopping carts or Thanos and things like this happen.
That was really cool too.
Yeah, and it's a cool idea, but a lot of people got sick of it quick because the shopping cart was more obtrusive and an issue. So
yeah,
it's a limited time event. So they're like, oh, you can't call, you can't complain, you can't chime in with it. But I don't know. Their hardcore community has been wanting private servers forever so that they can run actual tournaments. I mean, look at what Keemstar and people like that have to do for the Fortnite Friday series that he runs. They have to have people. So if it was you and me versus D-Moon and Himmelfarb, we would all join on a squad. And if you and I got more kills than Himmelfarb and D-Moon, then we get to move on to the next bracket. So you can't even really face off against each other the way they have it set up currently. And they let Ninja at one point have access to a private game server to run a tournament, but they won't let, private servers go to people that are actually running tournaments. So
that is so weird. That is bizarre.
Yeah. And they're also, interest is building again, though. As much as people say it's dying down, I think it's dying down in general, but I think the esports aspect of it is rising. So people that want to compete in it are getting more interested in it and taking it as more of a legitimate sport. But the general, common fan base is dwindling a bit.
Yeah,
I think it peaked.
That's what's going to happen in all these games. That's why people are like, oh, PUBG's dying. Oh, Fortnite. It's not dying. It just came out. This just happened. These have only been hot for about 8 months now. And they're not dying. I don't even like that talk. It's stupid. There's tons of people enjoying the game. If the casuals move off of it, it doesn't matter as long as it has a core of people. I mean, I can still log in and play Halo with a bunch of people right now, and that you know, you could argue that Halo has been kind of dead, you know, but I can still log in and play with a bunch of people on Halo. So it doesn't matter. As long as I can play it, it ain't dead. You know, it's, I mean...
Yeah,
it's
and
fun.
to my knowledge, I still think that PUBG on Steam is the #1 played game still to this day. So, I mean...
Yeah.
Anyone that has any intention of thinking that it's dying, I don't think that's the case at all.
And soon, I mean, here's the other thing is great because it rules on PC. Like PUBG is made for PC. It's the best on PC. You know, we're playing on Xbox mostly out of convenience. But it's going to come out on PlayStation too, and then so that's going to get a whole new crowd of people watching it over there.
That was actually a huge shocker for me because there was like heavy rumor saying that this E3 PlayStation, they were going to announce that PUBG was coming to it, and we didn't get anything on that.
Maybe it's not,
So-
because why didn't they announce
I haven't
it?
heard anything official about it being released on PlayStation either.
We really heard
Well-
that it was going to be August or September or something for a while, and
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it could be that Microsoft maybe bought them out for like another year, but yeah, it doesn't seem like it's coming
If
at least this year for anyways.
if there's something going on, we don't really know about it. And the weird thing about that is maybe there is something going on, and that would explain why PlayStation grabbed H1Z1.
Yeah, because you think about it, Microsoft at their press conference when they showed off all the new updates for PUBG, they
Mhm.
showed
Hello?
Xbox first. Is I think one of the maps is one of the features coming to Xbox before it comes to PC, and that made some people upset. Something minor, but still. But all of it said summer content and then winter content. So I know they have plans to release stuff in December as well as August and July.
See, I don't know.
So I wonder if they have the rights, like exclusive rights to PUBG through this year, because you know they have stuff
Yeah.
planned to come out in winter 2018.
I don't know if
Yeah.
this is true, but like I get the vibe about PUBG that I got about and you know about Fortnite too, although I don't care for Fortnite as much. But I do have fun with it sometimes. But I get the vibe with PUBG, the kind of vibe that I got from like Diablo 1. You know what I mean? Like where it really took off and people were really interested in Diablo 1 big time, and a lot of people playing it, and it had some issues and stuff like that. But then, you know, Diablo 2 came out and it was like, wow, like that was like the mecca. So I wonder, you know, and I don't know if maybe this iteration right now of PUBG is the best it will be. I don't know, but it does have that vibe of a game. Like we're going to be always talking about that, I feel like. But there's so many groups of fan bases that knock other games and things that it's hard now for everybody to get on the same page with things. So, you know, I don't know, maybe Fortnite is the bigger version of that. Like Fortnite is like the World of Warcraft and PUBG is like Diablo. Because,
Yeah.
you know, even though Diablo had come out first and really kind of helped build Blizzard, you know, World of Warcraft came out and everybody was playing that. Even though, you know, a lot of people were playing Diablo 2 as well. Like it killed. In fact, I don't even know if you look at sales, it might own the record on World of Warcraft. I don't know, but it just feels like more people eventually settled with World of Warcraft, and Diablo was more of a temporary, like for a little while. Everybody was playing it, and I feel like that's how PUBG is. But there's going to be this sort of hardcore group of us that still just always plays PUBG. Just like how Diablo 2 for years people played it, and for years people have been playing Diablo 3. Now, and you know, even though the community is shrunken, it's a pretty vast community that if there was a new Diablo 4, you know, they broke sales for Diablo 3. Like you thought, you know, people stopped playing Diablo 2. It had been like 8 years. Like, you know, what's left of the audience? What's it going to be like? And I think if I'm right, Diablo 3, I believe, was like the top 10 selling game of all time, I believe. I don't quite remember those numbers now, but I don't know. And the thing about it too, guys, is weird. PUBG is like real time, right? Because in real time they add maps, they add new things and expansions. It's not like PUBG 2 comes out. It's a live game that's always being added on and adjusted to. And while I like that, I get a little bit concerned because, you know, if there's something you loved about the game 8 months ago or a mode that was there at some point, if they take those things away, the game is forever changed. You really can't go back and experience that again unless they let you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? It's kind of weird.
I mean, unless they do it for the better, like the changes, because obviously right now change is good because the game's not running.
Well, but not
properly.
really, because Moon. I mean, I would go if I could go back in time 4 months or 3 months, or at least 2 months. I'd roll it back because I mean, I'm walking into buildings that are invisible.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, in terms of, like, adding content that, is going to make the game better, I mean, I think I'm all for that. But I mean, I think you're just talking patches in terms of, like, how you would want to roll it back.
Do you want to know the list of best-selling video games, by the way? I got it in front of me. We'll talk about this Sunday. I probably should have saved it for Sunday, but I got it in front of me. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear.
You want to hear it?
The list is, yeah.
This is gonna blow your mind. I don't know if well, maybe this isn't true because this is Wikipedia. This might be not true.
Yeah, people always modify Wikipedia.
I'm not kidding because, okay, Tetris it says is #1. Like, I didn't know you could even Tetris 1984.
Yeah, that I've heard before is a stat because that's been the highest selling game of all time because it's been re-released so many times.
But even you want to know what #5 is?
What's that?
PUBG.
Really?
Wow.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, 50 million sales.
Yeah, because it was huge.
I'm not kidding. Like, so, but Fortnite isn't even on here because it's free, so you can't even put Fortnite on here.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure Fortnite probably would have beaten it, but it can't be tracked in that sense. So,
dude, Tetris 170 million sales. Minecraft 144 million sales. Grand Theft Auto #3 95 million. Wii Sports 82 million. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds 50 million sales. Super Mario
Wii Sports
Brothers
shouldn't count either because that was bundled with the Wii U.
Yeah.
Right? Excuse me.
Yeah, so I don't know if that counts all those too.
It counts because it was sold, but it was bundled with the Wii for so long.
I mean, dude, think about, and this is great to bring up now because this podcast is primarily themed to PUBG right now. I'm probably call this like the state of PUBG, episode 1. Look at this. Rockstar Games, Nintendo, and Bethesda, and Spectrum Holobyte is who made Tetris, and Mojang made Minecraft, right? So you're talking about Bethesda, Mojang, Spectrum, Nintendo, and PUBG Corporation. Do you know how wild it is to be in that talk?
Huge.
That's crazy. So when you talk about like where things are going and how important this is to Xbox and Microsoft to own this thing, as far as on console, this is huge because Halo has essentially died at this point. Now, if they can bring it back, then great. But right now, at this point, Halo is kind of not a dead, it's not dead. There's always going to be a huge following. Halo is my favorite thing all the time. But like that was their game, that was their killer app, right? The killer app, the PC terminology from the years back. That was their Mario Brothers. That was their reason to buy. PC had, Microsoft Windows had Excel and stuff. Like people bought computers because of Excel. There's always that reason to buy the computer or buy the console. And Halo's kind of drifted off. But now they've got PUBG. And it's like, and dude, we just named it. It is top 5. But you have to go. PUBG's direct competition, I'm dropping down here looking at sales, and I mean, it's not there. I mean, Elder Scrolls is on there at 12, but they're a multi-console game. Yeah. Certainly, Grand Theft Auto's multi-console. And then Call of...
you figure PUBG is just on Xbox One and PC, only 2, as where most of those games have had many iterations.
Can you believe that Halo isn't even on here? Because Halo 2, even though everybody was playing it in that time, the amount of people playing online on Xbox was much lower. Now it's like an everyday thing. Not only do...
Yeah, that, and also there was a lot of people playing on the same console, so they would have, 4 unique gamer tags, but only 1 copy of the game was bought. Right,
and now you have multiple consoles in a house, whatever. But yeah, it's dude, it's wild that Halo 2 doesn't even make this list. They're not even beating 15 million. And I believe Halo 2 did 7 to 10 million sales. I don't know what it was. So, they're down.
You also have to take into consideration that it's also an Xbox exclusive. Most of the games that do well, are multi-platform.
You're right. So, yeah, when we look at PUBG, I mean, these numbers are the PC mostly, right? Like, it's probably...
Yeah, mostly PC, yeah. That's what I'm assuming.
But no, Xbox had a huge surge of sales as well. So, I mean, they had over 5 million players. That's why they gave out the 5 million
jacket.
So if there's 15 million sales, or 50 million, You know, probably 40 of them are strictly on PC. But
yeah,
a lot of those sales too, because the game was $30 for so long as well, being in beta for a year, so that adds to it.
It's still really in beta, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Well,
and it's also funny to think that how many people got banned on PC and bought another copy.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that happened multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean, even Dr. Disrespect shot one of his teammates live on stream, and they banned him for it because you're not supposed to intentionally shoot your own teammates.
They banned him forever for shooting a teammate?
Yeah, that was a big deal at one point in time.
That's bullshit.
There was a trike, so he was with a random group, and they're like, "Oh, somebody's got to stay behind," because there was only the 3 spots on the sidecar.
Yeah.
Motorcycle. So he turns to one of the guys and just blasts them in the chest, and he's like, "All right, let's go."
Wow.
Gold.
That's really funny, but that's
banning him for it, and he had to make a whole new account.
That's so wrong, though. That's just like one thing. That's really stupid. If they, I mean, like,
yeah,
that's
well, they
enraging.
were trying to promote like a positive environment and get rid of team shooters.
Well,
and
you think he did it because because he's prolific, he's a streamer, like
they wanted to set an example with him.
That's so weak. That's kind of weak, though. But
and then he went ahead and he made like some comeback to one of the heads of PUBG Core, and
because he's helping sell their game. I mean, really.
Yeah, exactly. And now they even have a Dr. Disrespect and Shroud skin, so they're in a good working relationship now.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, it was a big to do because you know how Guy Beam plays the Dr. Disrespect character. Well, he said that he was gonna like drop kick the guy through a plate glass table or something, and they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't threaten with violence," especially knowing I guess this guy had a seizure and fell through a table and thought that was what he was referring to. And I'm like,
wow!
People always have to take it to such an extreme woe is me level. Really, he was just in character saying that he's gonna, with his 36-inch vertical leap, drop kick like he always says. I really like his character. You take away the cheating aspect and all the other shit. You keep that aside. Just entertainment factor. I really enjoy Dr. Disrespect, but
yeah,
like you
absolutely.
said, he sold probably 20 million of those friggin' copies between him and Shroud.
I would say that's a lot. I don't know if he sold 20 million. That's crazy.
I'm telling you right now, if you track it all with people that
I would say 2 million.
Him and Shroud.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that Ninja used to play PUBG. That's how he got noticed big time, because he was like the #1 player for the longest time.
Yeah.
Until like he made the transition to Fortnite. So I mean, he had a lot to say in sales too.
Yeah. I shouldn't say just them, but streamers.
I mean,
streamers
dude,
probably
streamers.
Sold,
look at
good
this,
half of all their sales.
Look at us. Look at my show. I mean, I probably, we have 300 to 700 people watching live at a time, and probably
we have
maybe 3,000 core people watching all the time. And I mean, I have seen so many people be like, I got to get this, and what is this on? Like, this looks like fun. Like, people buy it because of that, and it's because it's fun to, it's fun to play. But I don't know, man. I think we're out of the road
certainly had
here.
people go and buy the system and the games, that we're playing to join us. So.
That's what I wanted to say. Is my buddy at the GameStop? He goes, I haven't seen. He said it came out of nowhere that people are coming in here all the time looking for the Xbox One, the Xbox One S that had the Player Unknowns, the logo, the whole thing, the theme Xbox with, hey, get the Xbox, and it comes with PUBG. Like, he said that he had so many people coming in and buying those, and that's crazy. Those are like
and they're doing it again where they're releasing it, and you get a free copy of either Sea of Thieves or PUBG. So
right, Sea of Thieves was another one, but they kind of fizzled out a little bit because I don't think they made their game immersive enough or made it clear enough.
They had no content in that game.
Yeah. It was nothing.
It was impossible to play solo.
It was like sold on Flash Factor. Like, it was wowing.
Yeah, it was all hype.
Turning the wheel on the sailboat and stuff was really fun. Like, there was something about it that was like, wow, and the cannonball fire. And
everybody wants to be a pirate. That life is very attractive. They don't want to deal with scurvy and starving and being on the ocean, really. But, the glamorous part of it, taking to the sea with your friends and capturing, islands and securing treasure and getting in these, gigantic battles with krakens and sharks and megalodons. And it was very alluring. And then you got in the game and there was just like 3 things to do over and over and over. And that was it.
Yeah. And
there was 3 different factions that you had to level up. You either had to go to an island and find a piece of treasure, or you had to capture a chicken and bring it back. Like, there was nothing to do.
Do you realize?
And if you didn't have a dedicated group to play with as a team, you were screwed. You had to do all these different things on a boat by yourself. There was no way to check the map where you were going, navigate the sails, worry about attackers, steer the ship. It was just.
But you know what though?
It wasn't designed well.
If they had made a game where there's gonna be 10 boats on the ocean, and the game is kill the other boat, like destroy the other boat and sink the other boats, and the last boat standing wins, dude. That's all it had to be for me. Like I know a lot of other people like strategy and treasures and stuff like that. For me, all it had to be was a cannon fight on these sailboats.
Oh yeah, that's it.
And dude, I would have paid $100 to play that game. Like
that's why I was so excited when it came out. Leah was like, "Oh, we're gonna rock this," and even she was like getting into it. We thought it would be good for the four of us, and you, me, her, and D Moon were gonna be like this pirate, barrage of. A clan on the high seas, and then I saw it. I got it free with Games Pass, and I'm like, wow, there's just nothing. You don't want it to be completely handheld either. You don't want to be dragged through all the content, but it was so figure it all out on your own that it was just over encumbering. It was so encumbersome. You didn't know what you were doing.
How far did you get with the Moon? Because I didn't get far. Because we've been over this. I have ADD, major ADD. That's why I want to have just wars on the ships. Like I don't want to go looking for treasure and figuring it out. I couldn't figure it out. It was too complicated for me. And I know that there's some dorkos out there that are like, you don't understand. It's really easy. You're just like, I'm sure Troy would tell me I'm an idiot. But like, and lots of people. But there are a lot of morons like me who just can't deal with trying to figure this thing out.
No, honestly, dude, I tried playing it myself a couple times after we had played it. I even couldn't figure it out. I had to look stuff up through Google to see like, oh, how do you check your map, or how do you check what direction you're going in and stuff like that. I couldn't figure it out. I probably played it 4 times after we had played it, and then I was just done with it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the problem with games now coming out. I just feel like all these developers feel like, oh, we can announce something and then we'll just dish something out, and then kind of feel like people have to get season passes now in order to get the full
so we can finish
experience.
The game.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's stupid, dude. Like, I don't know.
Like we were talking about Destiny 2, they had everything set by year 3 of the first Destiny to the community was very stacked, and everything was great. A lot of fun, tons of hype for the game. It sold extremely well. And the first 20 hours were great, and then there was no end game. I literally didn't have to raid or do anything difficult to progress my character. I could do the thing I was doing at level 1 to get myself to level 50 kind of idea. If you wanted to hit max power, you could do the thing that you were doing in the beginning of the game. You can go to a public event over and over versus having to do the difficult content. So there was no reason to raid.
Can you still make your character
multiple times a week?
Could you still make your character better and better? Or did you absolutely hit a wall where this is just not going to get any better, and there's no reason to get better? Or
there was no reason. Like in the first game, if you did the raid, you had gear that would help you again in raids or in future contents. In this one, there was nothing beneficial. Maybe there was a couple weapons you wanted, but most of the weapons were better that you got else. Like in the campaign itself, like the exotics were very mundane, and I didn't even run any. As were the first game, you had to have a Gallahorn or an iceberg. You needed specific weapons and exotics to even be competitive in any sense of the word. In the second one, they made it so casual friendly that everybody was equal and power didn't matter.
It's
so
like
now they're fine-tuning it and making it so that you actually need certain things to be advantageous, but it didn't matter. You didn't have to do any of the extra content because you weren't getting anywhere. You were the exact same power level at, light level 200 as you were as 330. So there was no benefit to ranking up.
I'm trying to compare it to like Diablo, because Diablo 3 did a good job of like adding things. Like when you hit a wall at 70 for a couple of years, it was like you're at 70, and that's really about it. And there was some other things to do to gear up, but you're at level 70, you're geared up, and eventually you couldn't get any more. And they added Paragon, and that was really huge. So it's like it can never end.
They're at the stage now where they're adding like the Paragon and the Rifts and things like that for Destiny.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're getting into finally.
Yeah,
but a lot of that isn't coming out until September, and you got to pay $40 to get it. So that's what people are upset about. I'm okay with paying because it's adding a bunch of additional content.
Yeah,
and they're adding things for people that you don't have to pay for either. The weapon changes and things like that. But there's also a good majority that if you want to get access to, people feel slighted because you spent $60 on the game, $40 on their first season pass, and now you got to spend another $40 to play what you should have had all access to year 1.
Yeah. It's
I can't remember. I can't remember, Jake. In the first one, when you bought the season pass, that didn't cover the original season pass. It didn't cover everything for the first Destiny, did it?
No, that only covered the House Below or Dark Below and House of Wolves. So it only covered the first 2 smaller DLCs. Then the Taken King came out. Same idea. That was $40 or $30, one of the two. And then you had to buy Rise of Iron, which was $30, which was the year after.
Say that's like what, like at least $120 that you spent on Destiny.
That
and then
was 170 or 200 for most people.
See, like that sucks, because then like a couple years later you get Destiny 2. So it's like, what
sucks is by the time if you waited till year 3, you could have spent $40 to $60 depending on the sale. $40, but most of it was $60, and you got everything that was released. Yeah. So it was almost better if you waited till the final DLC to come out, and that's what people are complaining about now, because you need DLC 1 and 2 for Destiny 2 to play the new content. So a lot of people that didn't purchase the crap first DLC have to buy it in order to pay. So now you're spending $60 instead of $40.
Yeah.
And they might bundle it all together. That hasn't been, revealed yet. But you can buy Destiny 2 on PC the other day for $12 and on Xbox for $20. So
yeah. So if you get them now, and that's why original people must be so mad. But they did. But the thing is, you got to play it. You have been playing
exactly.
It, so that's
the
thing.
You were an early adopter. That's what you got. You got the access to the game early, and that was, that's what people forget.
If they do this, though, it really saved Diablo 3. Like, so if they do this same thing, if they're using
this will save Destiny. I guarantee it. I have full faith in the fact that this, from other changes we've already gotten into what else is coming, this is not all hype. They know that they lost a good chunk of, like 80% of their player base dropped off within the first 2 months.
Right.
Wow.
80%.
Well, anything,
so they were only left with the hardcores. All the casuals were gone. So now they're getting all these people to come back for the Warmind, the second DLC. So now the major year 2 change is coming, and they're full steam ahead with recovering and fixing their previous mistakes. Same thing with Halo. People were upset about the campaign. So not only did they have additions to the multiplayer, but they also went ahead and they're promising for Halo Infinite that it's going to be this big expansive universe. So.
Well,
I know a lot of people. I wasn't thrilled with Halo 5's campaign either. And this is one of the things I was going to tell you before, Joe. Halo Infinite is not a prequel.
Yeah, it really is. I like the idea that it's continuing. 6. So it is Halo 6. It is
Halo 6. They said right here, the team also heard feedback, and they want to make it sure that it's abundantly clear the amount of time spent playing as Master Chief in Halo 5 was not enough. In Halo Infinite, the game will focus on the Master Chief and continue his saga after the events of Halo 5. So it is a sequel. It is Halo 6. It's just called Halo Infinite.
I envisioned when they came out with the next Halo that they weren't going to call it Halo 6, that they were going to call it something else, because the stigma of Halo right now, it's almost like a stigma. If you just hear Halo, you just go, oh, I don't play that. So I was thinking that, I believe that they're going to market something like, so Infinite, I feel like they're going to start saying stuff like Infinite's coming out, or Infinite, coming soon, Infinite. And they're going to say Infinite.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Instead of Halo.
A rebrand.
Yeah, not really to rebrand necessarily, but yeah, to sort of trick you into So instead of saying what's another example of that? Like if I don't know, I'm trying to think of another game, or like Skyrim. I don't know,
It's been done before. It's certain
classic.
Companies have done it, and.
But I also like the idea that they threw in the nostalgia, too, of making it themed, making it look like the style of the original 3 games. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else does, but I love it.
I noticed that right away.
Well, Gears is kind of doing the same thing you're talking about right now, too, right? Instead of Gears of War, they're just calling it Gears 5 now.
Oh,
Isn't
really?
that what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's still not enough. If you were trying to get away from that name.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean, but I mean, the name drop of Gears of War instead, just calling it Gears.
Yeah, make it easier. I mean, but like Call of Duty, a lot of people started saying Modern Warfare, or whatever. It's trying to get away from that name, that stigma, because once you decide I'm not a Halo fan, or I'm not a Call of Duty fan, when you hear Call of Duty or Halo, you go, oh no. Who did it was I think I'm trying to think if Star Trek did it. I don't know if one of the movies, I guess Enterprise did it, right? So they sort of tried to get away from it a little and say Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise, it's Enterprise, it's not Star Trek, it's Enterprise, or maybe it was one of the movies. I don't remember. But there's been lots of companies that have done that over the years, and sometimes it works, but a lot of times it's usually a fail. It's because, like, you know, they're destined to fail, kind of. But I don't think so. Hopefully this Halo will be a rejuvenation, but they better do the right thing because they have. I mean, I liked Halo 5, but I didn't like the campaign. But it's always been about the multiplayer to me. But it's kind of the same old thing. So it's like I don't want multiplayer to change because I like the way it is. And Halo 5 was really very smooth. Like, it's not a game with glitches.
It was very refined.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like perfected. Halo 4...
As for Halo 4, they added some... So Reach started to add the abilities, and some of it was just unbalanced, and, you know, like the armor lock and things like that. So Halo 4, they changed some of the abilities, but then they started adding, like, Call of Duty, like, what do you call it, kill streaks.
Yeah.
So you were getting drops and supplies, and, you know, it made things unbalanced. So this one, they went back to, you're going to have power, weapons, and ammo spawn here. You know, they went back to the arena shooter that we all grew up to love. And, you know, sprinting's still there, but your shields don't recharge. Like, they focused on fine-tuning balance for everyone and thing.
Hopefully this new Halo will be good. Hopefully.
The art direction is great, too. As soon as you saw, you know, that might not even be Master Chief you saw in the beginning. It might be a female Spartan. You know, there's a lot of... You know, that's all into the lore. But to me, the lore and story and campaign has always been just as important as the multiplayer. I loved the story of Halo 1 and became really engrossed in that. I read a few of the books and the novels. And from there, you know, it just got better and better. And then it got rather messy and convoluted. And then they fixed it by retconning some things with Halo 3.
The thing I find interesting is how... For years, I've been making the comment that, like, the maps don't feel like tangible anymore. They don't feel memorable because they're just overly produced and crazy. And the fact that because we kept saying, what do you do though? Because they keep making it look better and better, and that seems like it's the right thing to do. But in the end, it isn't because I feel like the maps aren't special. I don't remember them. I
remember Sidewinder, Hang 'em High, Valhalla, Blood Gulch, Tombstone. You know, these things stand out.
Yeah.
You know, indefinitely in my mind. I cannot name, as you had said this on the Halo Infinite podcast you did yourself.
Yeah.
You know, when you explained your history with Xbox and you know, how you loved it before it was even actually released. I was on the same boat as you, and you know, I can, as soon as you say the names of the maps, I can picture it. I can picture where the weapons spawn, like all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But Halo 5, you tell me a map name, I have no clue where you're talking about.
And I mean, I do remember Halo 4's a little bit, because I mean, like, what happens is you build nostalgia later on, like, about the game and the maps or whatever. But yeah, it's just nowhere near. The only Halo 4 map I really remember is that, you know, that one that everyone gets every second, the one where there's the top level around in a circle, and then there's the bottom level in a circle, and then the middle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what the name of that map is, but that's the one that just everybody...
That's the one that stood out just because it was overplayed. But, you know, that was their version of Nuketown. That's the one that everybody went to, you know, the callback. But with Halo 5, like you said, the art direction with it, for the multiplayer especially, it all had, like, sci-fi panel walls. So each each map looked the same. You know, they were all that gray, matte, you know, walls. And then they had some, like, bright fluorescent lights to, like, you know... shine up the areas, but all of it was basically, you know, the same formula, the same layout, and it just, none of it felt unique, or there was nothing to define each level differently.
Right.
And, you know, you weren't in a jungle, you weren't in a broken down base with a huge windmill attached to it, you know, all these kind of things. There was no expansive desert or snowy mountain. It was just alien base 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Well, we got to really wrap this thing up. I would do longer, but I have to go take care of the kids. And I want to say, but as far as PUBG goes, to bring it all back to PUBG, because I don't know exactly yet how I'm going to distribute this podcast right now. I don't know if this is going to be called the State of Player Unknown Battlegrounds or State of PUBG, or, you know, if it's just going to be a gaming podcast. But maybe we'll keep
I would say Battle Royale.
Well, I mean, we really talked about all kinds of stuff at the second part of it.
You know, Battle Royale in gaming, or, you know, the trend of Battle Royale in gaming.
I want to do this every week, though. That's my point. I want to do this every week, and maybe we'll have a couple different people on sometimes, but I'm game to do it with you guys if you want every week, you know. And Moon, is there anything else you wanted to say about PUBG? Is there, like, what you don't like or what you're liking about this, or what's the thing that you want to see happen here?
I mean, I still prefer PUBG over obviously the competition like Fortnite. I will say that I love the slow, methodical pacing of it, so I'm hoping they never change that.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, yeah, I mean, hopefully they just keep on working on the game. I say don't worry about the whole lawsuit that they're doing right now. Just focus more on the game. I know you, like you said, people are obviously still working on it, but
yeah.
It should really just be about, perfecting your game, I guess.
It's annoying to us because we're like, can we get a better game, or can you fix some of this stuff like that's going on?
Yeah, can you make something playable at times?
Yeah.
And so infuriating to feel like, it takes forever to get a group together, and all right, now we've got our friends together. Now we finally all meet up, you message or text everybody, you get everybody at a set time. All right, that's done. Now you got to load into the game. All right, the game loads. Oh, now we got to restart. Somebody got kicked. Somebody got dropped down and the game didn't load. So we all either somebody's got to wait for a half an hour for the game to end, or we all got to quit. And that's the crap you don't want to see.
And while I like all these game modes, like Moon said, keep it methodical. I love all these new game modes ideas, and I hope they do come out. But yeah, this will always be my #1 favorite way to play, is the way it is right now. But it will be fun to quickly take a break from it. Like I said this the other day about Diablo 3, there was a goblin run where like you could right when your game started, you could go into a map, and the goblin right away, there was an 80 or 70% chance that like 2 goblins were going to spawn every time. So you got addicted to just go in, kill the goblin, exit the game, come in the game, go in, kill the goblin, exit the game, come in the game. And that was really addictive and fun. And Blizzard took it out. They realized it was some kind of mistake, obviously, because it's a mistake if you go to the same part of a map. If you click on a thing and there's always almost a goblin there, it's really not supposed to happen. But when I was in the middle of doing all my other things in Diablo that I got bored of, that became something that kept me playing the game. And they took it away, and I left the game again because it just, I don't know, that was just something that was fun to do for a while, and then that made going back to the other things fun to do. And then without that, it really dropped off for me. And so I just hope that they do stuff. Hold on 1 second, honey. Hold on 1 second. And so I just hope that they would put some of that stuff in there. Like you said, like we drop and there's a big war, there's wars that's coming out. All this stuff that they can put in PUBG, I want them to do it, because then it will make playing this original game the way it is funner when you take a quick break from, because sometimes you just want to go and shoot up people real quick and battle for a second. And then
you don't have a half an hour to dedicate to, trying to get a chicken dinner, or even 20 minutes, whatever it is. You just want to drop in, shoot some stuff, and not have to worry about building a squad or fighting against multiple people teaming up. Yeah.
Well, I got to wrap it up, but anything else, D Moon?
That's it, man. That's all I got.
All right. We had Jake DeMarco, D Moon, and myself. This was fun. I want to play PUBG like right now, because we talked about it. Like, let's go kill people now. Maybe I will even. I might after I take care of my daughter for a few minutes. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys are subscribing to the gaming channel where this podcast is going to be. Someday it will get monetization enabled. It still hasn't happened yet on YouTube. Even though we've hit all the numbers and killed the numbers. YouTube.com/JCSGaming. And also, if you guys like these podcasts, support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. I'm going to put up more gaming podcasts up there and other things up there to hear. And so you can download the MP3 audio of these things. And that's it. I got it all out. We'll see you guys on episode 2 next time. Goodbye.